So, to start off this review, I'd like to first say that no, in my opinion at least, this is not a Cloverfield film. This is not a sequel or an addition to the Cloverfield universe. It may be produced by J.J. Abrams, right, who has produced each of the Cloverfield films, but it is also directed by David Robert Mitchell, who has never had any part, as far as I'm concerned, in any of the Cloverfield films. So no, this has nothing to do with Cloverfield, though it does, I guess, have like this parallel universe aspect to it. And in the Cloverfield Paradox film, they do use the particle accelerator or whatever that ends up, messing up the universes or bringing Earth to a different universe or whatever. I barely remember that film. So I guess one could say that, whenever that happened in space, that was around the same time that the town that Oak Street is in was, transported to a parallel universe 50 million years ago to the time of the dinosaurs. But I do not think that is the case for this film. I think this film is a standalone story, a standalone entry, and just another film that happens to be produced by J.J. Abrams, right? So The End of Oak Street was a pretty good movie. I actually enjoyed it. I would say it's probably the best dinosaur film we've had since, the Jurassic World series. I mean, we did have the movie, I believe it's 65 with Adam Driver, right, where he ended up landing on Earth, 65 million years ago or whatever. But that was a little bit more sci-fi oriented, and this one, I honestly thought it was going to be more of a creature feature, but it was in fact dinosaurs. But I will say that it was kind of crazy that the velociraptors were depicted as actual scientifically accurate velociraptors, right? Like they had fur on them and shit. They weren't just like blue running around. But yeah, so this film was interesting. It was a lot of fun. I'm a fan of dinosaurs in general. I think dinosaurs are great. I mean, I wish they could be utilized more in films and TV shows, but they've had their runs. But it was an all right movie. The film follows Anne Hathaway and Ewan McGregor as Denise and Greg Platt, right? And they are just this couple. They're this married couple with some problems, or whatever, right? Traditional suburban living. They have their daughter Audrey and their son Brian and their dog Starbucks. And yeah, it turns out they have some stuff going on, some internal nonsense going on within their marriage. And one day there's this flash of light, and the whole city, the whole town that they live in is transported back in time about 65 million years ago, right? It starts out small, where they notice this, the wife notices this plant in her neighbor's yard. These giant piles of shit are just found all of a sudden around the neighborhood, which is obviously a call to Ian Malcolm.
That is one big pile of shit.
There's a lot of small things that I wish they could have elaborated on more that would have led to this town all of a sudden disappearing and put 65 million years ago into the past. And throughout the film, it's pretty much just, survival. You see some people get attacked, of course, by some of these velociraptors. They end up showing a Spinosaurus, a T-Rex ends up coming into play. But everything kind of, I feel like, happens a little slow. It's not as fast-paced as you would assume. But it was pretty good, right? But the main thing is that, just like in every horror movie almost, in every science fiction movie, the kids are just the absolute fucking worst, right? Like in this one, the dog ends up being lost, right? It breaks out of its chain or whatever. It's not even a chain, it's like a rope. It chews through its rope, probably because it was so terrified of seeing what was going on. And so the whole movie, like, you're wondering like where the dog is, and it's not until the end or middle of the movie actually, when the son ends up seeing the dog, that the dog's alive, and the son ends up like trying to leave the house to go hunt for the dog. And it's like, bruh, you just saw that there was dinosaurs everywhere. You just had an attack on the house. Like, you just saw all this stuff go on, and they had established that he's like terrified, but he decides to, I'm going to brave it up, and I'm going to go out and search for my fucking dog and not tell the parents, not tell the sister. And the sister notices them leaving, and then decides to also not tell the parents, not to alert anybody what's going on, and just follow in the son's footsteps to try to find the son while the son's out, looking for the dog, while there's dinosaurs roaming around. Not to mention bullies, and just probably psychotic people that would probably cause harm to you, knowing now that they're trapped in this void of time and space, right? And it's just absolutely ridiculous. But the family ends up, getting together, finding each other, of course. They have some attacks from some different prehistoric style animals, a giant fucking snake. They get chased by a stampede. I mean, just, basic dinosaur shit, kind of reminiscent of Jumanji, right? Honestly, this would be like a better remake of Jumanji, where, the whole town gets sucked into the game because of some card, some move, versus the already done reboots that are just fucking campy ass, just The Rock infused adventure flicks, to venture cash grabs, I guess, right? Most of the film was just the parents trying to now find the kids, and then the kids and the parents trying to find their way back when they end up coming across this portal, right? This parallel universe portal, which is why I say the whole like Cloverfield paradox thing could technically make sense. Like when that paradox event happened, it created these little wormholes throughout the world. But this is the only one apparently that was documented, right? Because it turns out at the end of the film, like the government and everybody knows about this event, right? And they started taking out the dinosaurs and everything, and the military, of course, because humanity's number one. Dinosaurs cannot survive against the U.S. military. They end up destroying and killing most of the dinosaurs and trying to figure out what was going on. That's the only reason that it does make sense that the Cloverfield paradox movie could have a play in the events that happen. So they find this wormhole, and then the whole film is them trying to get to this wormhole because it seems like this is the way that they could get back home, which it turns out to be. And but yeah, it was all right. I mean, it was like I said, it was a fun film, but I wouldn't say it was anything to really hoot and holler about. But like, I mean, the two of the best scenes clearly and honestly were when Ewan McGregor's father character, right, Greg, gets attacked by a T-Rex. He's trying to save his wife, and he smacks the T-Rex with this fucking sledgehammer, and the T-Rex at first seems like it's hurt, like it's like, what the fuck, like he could have broke a bone or something, but I mean, it's a T-Rex, right, like it's not gonna give it that much damage. And the T-Rex then grabs his leg and slams him onto the floor, ripping off his leg. So you're thinking as a moviegoer, like, oh my god, they're gonna have to like save him, and like he's gonna have no leg. But then the T-Rex immediately starts eating him, and everyone's just kind of like walks away, and the T-Rex is just like, don't worry, I'm eating. Like, you guys could walk away now. You don't got to run. And the T-Rex just eats the dad. And it's like, it is pretty fucked up because it just happens so abruptly. And then they end up nullifying that at the end of the movie anyway, which was kind of a cop-out. And then the second part was when they find this portal on top of this roof of this mansion house, like one of the tallest houses in the city, in the town or whatever. It belongs to the librarian who sacrifices herself to save the family, which was genuinely awesome, but kind of sad. They end up, the son is going to jump into this portal, and right when he jumps, the portal disappears because they try to time it. I guess the son doesn't time it right, or maybe the portal is unstable, so the portal goes away and the son falls down, and like I think he like breaks his leg. It seems like he should have, but I think he was like kind of okay. But that shit was genuinely hilarious. And then he starts getting attacked by pterodactyls and shit, and they're like trying to fucking pick at him, and their mom and sister have to run down and save him. But yeah, it was a fun movie. I mean, the ending was kind of cheesy, right? Because they get the dad back, but I mean, and then, you know, they show that the family's all good now. They're all happy and everything's fine. But it's just, I wish it was a little bit more. I wish it was at least rated R to have a bit more like devastating kills. You know, the whole snake almost killing the mom when the son stabbed it or shot it with the arrow was pretty funny, because I wish that they would have shown that snake eat somebody, because it would have probably been a very sick, twisted death. Something like out of Kong Skull Island with all the leeches and shit. But still, like, I wish it could have been a bit more brutal, a bit more bloody, a bit more, you know, gasp and awe. I mean, the father's leg ripping off and being eaten was literally a 180 twist in the film. Like, you were just like, holy shit. But I wish there was more of that. And then, like I said, dinosaurs are dinosaurs, so everything looked cool. The CGI seemed cool. Everything seemed cool. But I just do wish it was just a little bit more, you know, I just wish it was more. But like I said, I do not think this had anything to do with the Cloverfield franchise. It just so happened to be a dinosaur film, very much so like 65, very much so like something out of the Lost World, right? Or Journey to the Center of the Earth. But yeah, so I mean, it was definitely fun. It was whatever. I mean, kids are the worst, and you know, Ewan McGregor's father character, Greg, trying to just let everyone know that everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be all right. We're going to get through this as a family. And then Hannah Hathaway being like, no, you don't understand. Be honest with me. Be honest with our family for once, that things aren't okay. Things aren't going to be all right. We could be here forever. And it's like, yeah, way to like fucking boost morale, girl. Like, damn. Let's just all be depressed and fucking go psychotic, you know? But yeah, it was an interesting movie. I definitely gave it like a 7 out of 10. You know, I'd watch it again over Camp Miasma, but I will talk about that film very soon. But yeah, this has been Ghost in the Craig. Thanks so much for tuning in. Like, share, and subscribe. And, you know, hopefully some crazy portal doesn't transport our city's universe world to a parallel reality, because that would suck. But yeah, until that time, peace.